going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Lob It Up Podcast with your hosts Tobias, Siavash, and Chris. Boys, how are we doing this week? I guess it's a new week for us, but when the people are listening to it, it'll be like, didn't they just drop an episode yesterday? But how you boys doing today?
Go, Chris.
Oh, God, all the pressure. Always telling me to go first, but I like it, though. Thank you. It's not been too bad. Decent week. Just busy with work, things like that. But, keep it on.
Giving some tours around the building, which is always courteous of you.
We're doing lots of room tours. We got students and other people that are interested in living here. So, it is what it is.
Great guy, Chris. Great guy, Chris.
I know. I do what I can. I'm very giving.
I think one day we will. What's the one website where people buy podcast episodes?
NFT?
No.
Like you.
OnlyFans?
No. They can buy extra episodes. Patreon.
I know.
One day we'll have a Patreon. We'll have these pre-pod conversations on there, and people can go and buy to listen to the Lob It Up beforehand episodes. But until then, Siavash, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm good, man. I can't believe you actually said that, but yeah, I'm good.
Gotta just tease.
Nobody's gonna get it, but we're always gonna look at this as just like a moment. We're like, dude, remember when he said that?
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. Chris is just a good guy.
Gotta be careful, though. You gotta be careful. The ops, they always listening.
Of course.
Right?
They're always ready.
Of course.
Always ready.
They are always listening, and the competition in the NBA is definitely going to be heating up this year. This episode we're going to be going through our Eastern and Western Conference predictions, where we think teams are going to rank, and I was doing the pre-rankings before where I think each team was going to slot, and I'm not going to lie, for the first time in quite a few years, I got to about the 8th spot in the East, and I was like, oh shit, this is really hard. This is actually really difficult. There was a lot of trades, a lot of acquisitions made, this offseason, that I think the East is going to start to be on par competitive with the West.
Would you say the East is more competitive from 3 to 10 than West?
From 3 to 10? Yes, I would. But I would say the better teams are in the West.
Sure.
Like from 6, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, there's a lot of good teams, and there's some teams that, like the Celtics, that they're a good squad, but they had a bad year last year. So where do you sit on those guys, right? So how do you want to break this down, Steve Ash? Did you want to do into different tiers? Did you want to go from 15 to 1? How do you want to do this?
I think we should go into different tiers, because I think the most exciting conversation is from 7 to 10. Those teams that could just make the play-in, or the teams that could actually get above it, but they still have to play the games. So I think maybe we break it down for first seed to the 6th seed, 7th seed to the 10th seed, and the 11th seed to the 15th seed. And I think we should start from the bottom and move our way to the top.
Totally. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Now, you did mention the play-in tournament, and I'm happy that the play-in tournament's back. I know Chris's guy last year was upset that the play-in tournament was here. LeBron James was upset because he felt threatened by having to play in the play-in tournament. But I guarantee you this year, when he's the 2nd seed, the 1st seed, the 3rd seed, a top echelon seed in the West, I guarantee you he's going to be fine with the play-in tournament again. There's going to be no issue because it doesn't affect him.
Buddy.
It doesn't affect him. How are your thoughts, Chris, with the play-in tournament? Did you like it last year? Like, are you excited for it again this year? What did you take away from it?
I liked it. I liked the format last year. Obviously it kind of sucked for some of those teams. Like, we saw Golden State have that early exit because of it. And C was pretty butthurt that his boy Steph wasn't back there, dropping 80 points a game, stuff like that.
I would have loved to see it.
But I felt it was good because it had those few couple teams able to make that push and really have to grind and not take their foot off the pedal and be like, okay, we've made it and we're good, we can sit back and we can relax. It's no, you still gotta keep going. which is good. So I thought it made things like a little bit more competitive and just more fun to watch.
Totally. So how about we start in the East? We got 2 Eastern Conference team representatives here, so we'll take it to the East. And you said you want to start at the bottom, right?
Yes.
That bottom echelon is 11 to 15. Now, do I tell you my 15th seed, or how do you want to lay this out?
You can kind of just play with it. You can give it a ranking, or you can just throw the teams out there. I will probably personally just throw the 4 or 5 teams in there. I don't really, some of them could be closer to the play-in,
Sure.
so maybe I can talk about them more. But I'll be honest, man, I'm not looking forward to talking about the Magic or the Pistons.
Fair enough.
I don't see them.
Okay, so I'll let you start then. It sounds like the Magic and the Pistons are probably at the very, very bottom of your ranking then.
At this time, they are. I'm looking at the standings. I just think the Magic, they've got a lot of young pieces. They're going to be really interesting looking forward. Jalen Suggs, your guy, the guy that the Raptors have missed out on. And you know what? I've been looking at Twitter, and Raptors Twitter is kind of, they've been debating their choice now.
Of course they are. You're gonna ride with your guy. It's like for example, when a guy, let's take another sport. Let's just say football. It's like when a guy is your quarterback for a solid 15 years, 20 years, wins his 6 championships, and then goes to another team. You're gonna ride with your new guy. You're not gonna ride with Tom Brady. I mean, just a guy,
God.
right?
All right, okay. This guy taking the jabs, people, just because I said in a previous conversation I didn't quite agree with booing Mr. TV12 when he came back. And I get it. I get the competitive nature of things, but like, man, come on. Have a little respect.
No, I feel you.
The man did so much.
I understand where you're coming from. I think to piggyback on the Jalen Suggs, Scotty Barnes situation, I think fit wise it worked well taking Suggs, but they'll do their own thing.
I forgot where. I think I heard it on the Mismatch, and shout out Kevin O'Connor and Chris Vernon. They were talking about it, and I think they said that the Raptors have over 9 guys who are between the heights 6'6" and 6'9".
Yeah,
that is just too much, and all the guys are really good names like OG, Pascal, Scotty Barnes. There were a lot of big names in there. I think Precious, I agree when I say it. Yeah, Precious. When you add Suggs into that instead of Barnes, I think it would have made a better fit.
Yeah, in my opinion, you solidify a position moving forward for the next 15 years if you draft Jalen Suggs and you bring him in as your point guard. Now, however, what I will give the Raptors credit to, you mentioned that's in between 6'6", 6'9". Basketball is really turning into that fluid sort of positionless sport, and sometimes you're not going to put a guy like Precious or Pascal even at the point, but a guy like Scotty Barnes could play the point. So we look at, again, we're not even going to get into him today, but you look at a guy like a 6'10" Ben Simmons who can play a power, who can play a point guard. Having those mismatches when it comes to the court, if you want to go big, definitely works in your benefit.
And let's move up, keep moving. I got the Pistons right above the Magic. Mm-hmm. I think Kate Cunningham is going to be really exciting. And once we keep moving, I got the Raptors in there. I don't think they're going to do anything this year. They're going to miss the playoffs.
I agree.
They're going to miss it by a lot. I think the Cavs are going to be better than them.
I don't agree with that.
There's no way.
I don't agree with that.
No way. Yeah.
Come on, they got Taco Fall.
Yeah. Well, that's the other issue. We just talked about Orlando and we just talked about Toronto briefly. I think the 2 teams that frustrate me the most in the NBA are the Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the same reason but different position. The Cleveland Cavaliers have 85 big men. The Orlando Magic have 85 guards. You don't need Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Markelle Fultz, Terrence Ross, all these guys. RJ Hampton, thank you. And then you got, Cleveland. You just signed or traded for Lauri Markkanen. You brought up Taco Fall. You got drafted Evan Mobley. You still got Kevin Love. You got Jared Allen. Bro, who is playing? You can't just put out 8, 7 6-foot guys. Like, it's not how your rotation works. So, and then the best
Big
part
man
is
ball.
they go to their backcourt, and then their backcourt is 2 small guards. They're such a weird team.
Yeah.
I-
And I think the 10th or the 11th seed, for me, the team that's on the cusp of making the play-in tournament, for me personally, is the Wizards.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think our rankings are going to match. So let me hear you guys'.
They're close. Go ahead, Chris. You kind of give that bottom tier. Do you vibe with
Yeah,
Sea
I would.
Bash there?
I agreed with Sea of Ash's like first couple, with just like Orlando and Detroit obviously being interchangeable. I felt like neither team really did anything like major during like the off season, and then I guess going into next spot. What did you get? You
I had the
said
Raptors.
you had the Raptors. See, I don't know. I would have put Cleveland there for sure. Cleveland 100% for the Raptors. I agree. Like, I don't think the Raptors are gonna make the playoffs. I just don't think they'll finish that low. I think they're gonna ride somewhere in between that like 10th to like 8th spot, and potentially have like
Okay.
if it's to make the play-in tournament. But I don't think like they'll go if they do make the play-in tournament.
Interesting. Okay.
That's all.
So I guess we're kind of all, somewhat in agreement of that, that bottom tier. I've got Orlando very last. Like, I'm not even exchanging or interchanging any of the teams with Orlando. I got Cavs, Pistons as a rotation. I do have Cavs at 14. I think the Pistons with Cade, they got Grant. I think that's going to be a good combo. I'd like to see how Killian Hayes does this year. That was their draft pick from last year. And then I'm right with you at number 12. Seabash, I got Toronto there. I just don't think they're going to make the play-in tournament. I think that there's some gaps there. And like I said, 8 or 1 to 8, I think is very, very good in the East. And then those 9, 10 spots, even 11, those are significantly better teams than the Toronto Raptors. But at 11, just missing the play-in tournament, it hurt me to put them there. The Charlotte Hornets. I had the Charlotte Hornets just missing the play-in tournament.
You got the Wizards above the Hornets?
I do have the Wizards above the Hornet. I like their team. I like Kuzma. I like Dinwiddie. I think they got rid of Russ, but they added in a lot of depth to their team.
See, okay. See, I had Charlotte actually probably making it.
Me too.
This year. Yeah, I had them up there making it.
One of my concerns about Charlotte is Gordon Hayward. How many games are we going to get out of Gordon Hayward? But the mentality of a certain player coming into this year, PJ Washington. We talked about it last episode. This guy, he signed the worst contract, this offseason, as Seabash brought up. How is he going to go into the offseason or into the season? In a mental space, is he going to be there? Is he going to be checking out? And how does that affect the team? Is Brittany Renner and Tiana Trump going to be hanging around the Charlotte Hornets, or what's going to be happening here?
It's a wild name you threw in there.
Super wild.
Well, that's the thing.
Right.
Tiana Trump has been hanging around LaMelo Ball apparently, so I'm just saying.
No,
Ugh, these girls, man.
I'll say something after the
It's
recording
just-
about that. Yeah.
No, say it with your chest now. Say it with your chest.
Patreon.
yeah.
Patreon.
Go subscribe to our Patreon. Okay, so
No.
we break it into the next tier. This is the 7 to 10 spot, Seabash. This is that play-in chunk, right?
This is that playing chunk right there, man. And I'll let you guys go first for this one.
Okay, Chris, you want to go first?
Yeah,
or want me to?
no, you go. You go ahead.
Okay,
You go
so
ahead.
like I mentioned, I do have Washington over Charlotte, but I just have them over Charlotte. I do have them at the 10 spot, just making that play-in tournament. Following up there, again, this is a team that I think we touched on, maybe not last episode, but near the end of last season. Indiana is such a weird team for me. They're one of those teams that stay kind of, they don't do anything that significantly makes them better, but they also don't do anything to kind of tear it down and rebuild. I have heard them in some Ben Simmons rumors. I don't know how that would really affect them moving forward. I think from what I've heard, the rumor would benefit Philadelphia more than it would benefit Indiana. Now we get into the 8 and 7 spot. It got really difficult. I looked at a lot of teams and it was hard to pick, but I had the New York Knicks at number 8. I don't want to say they got lucky last year, but I don't think they go out there and do as well as they did last year. This year, obviously, I think they got the 4th seed last year. Seabash, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, the 4th seed last year. So I think they're still a good team. They brought in Cardiac Kemba. I just don't think that they're that good of a team. And Kemba in the past couple of years hasn't been as consistent, not as durable. And then at the 7th seed, I have the Knicks' newest rival, the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh.
So I know you were surprised. You thought that I would maybe be shafting your Bulls in that section, but I have the Bulls a bit higher.
And you know what? There's a lot of talk about the Hawks right now, and I don't have them ranked as high as I should. But hearing you have them at the 7th seed, it gives me some leeway now.
Yeah, I think you look at the
leeway?
rest of the conference, and I think with the Bulls, again, we'll get into them. I think there's going to be some gelling issues, as there would be with a lot of change within a team, within an organization at the start. But I think they're a very good team. And those top 5 teams, those are teams that we've seen consistently be, the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference.
Okay, Chris.
I like that. Looking at this, I just had to quickly write everything down because I was just like, okay, I just want to make sure I've got my teams, I got them in the rankings. I had them all, had them off the dome.
Exactly.
Now I'm gonna start confusing them and whatnot. I feel like I'm missing a team, but I was I'm looking at my list and it's oh no, I got it. Oh, you know what? That's who it was. Okay.
I feel this coming.
Oh.
Oh, I forgot the
What?
Bulls. 7.
No. I didn't forget the Bulls. I didn't forget the Bulls. Actually, the Bulls. I have them higher up.
Thank you.
I have them higher up. So I'm thinking this year we've got like I said, I don't have the Raptors super low, but I do have them maybe at that 10 or 11 spot, bouncing back and forth with possibly the Knicks.
Wow.
So I feel like the Knicks could finish. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. It's for me it came down between the 9th and the 10th spot between Boston and the Knicks, but I feel like Boston could push a little better. Yeah, I know.
You are being so
I don't-
disrespectful right now. For me,
Go to New York.
I'm just saying. I don't care. I'm never going. Why am I ever gonna go to New York? New York's just a dirtier.
Don't do that, bro.
It's dirty. It's just dirty, bro.
It's my favorite city, man. Don't do it.
This guy pulled in with the automatic today. Oh my.
His views does not represent.
But no,
Yeah.
New York did pick up some great pieces, like you said. They got Kemba Walker. They got all this these new players. I just think it'll just be an adjustment. That's all. So if anything this season, it's just them getting it adjusted to playing with one another and getting used to each other's playing styles. And they might start off a little bumpier, and then kind of as the season ends and progresses, you'll see them getting into that flow and of that things, and then there'll be a real big threat come the next season, if anything. I don't know. And then, like I said, I have I had Boston at 10, potentially the Knicks at 9, and then I've got the sneaky little Pacers in at my 8th spot there. Because like you said, they're weird. They're like an enigma of a team. They could be good, but they could also be ass. So, and did we go up to 7?
Then who do you have slotted at
7? And then 7th, I've got our boy LaMelo.
Wow.
That's Hornets.
Damn.
Being up there in the 7th.
high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Raptors,
Because you know
have
what?
them at 11, is that correct?
I'm going to say, I'm going to have them at the 11th spot. 11th spot. So
you're saying I miss it.
yeah, don't worry, guys. I'm not like a certain other person in this. I'm not gonna say who, but
There's 2 other people.
I was gonna say.
all I can say is I can take my team's dick out of my mouth once in a while. You don't know who I'm looking at, though.
Okay, Steve Ash, now you get into that 7 to 10 spot.
You guys gonna love this one.
Uh-oh. I feel like
the
he's gonna put Philly in the 7 to 10 spot.
I know.
So at the 10th, I got the Hornets.
Okay.
Not much to be said there. I think them and the Wizards, they could switch spots very easily, but I think they got a bit more talent, and I think I'm banking on LaMelo being a little bit better. With the Wizards, I think it's more what the Wizards don't have than what
Sure.
The Hornets have.
Sure.
Right. At the 9th spot, I got the Sixers.
Wow. Because
I'm
of
not-
Ben?
Yes.
So you think that the Philadelphia 76ers are a significantly worse team without Ben Simmons?
Yes.
Now, is this
Here's
contingent on him sitting out for 82, or is this contingent on whatever
Yep.
trade they get? Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Assuming our situation, what we're looking at right now, he's going to be sitting out.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a trade, then I can, look at my opinion again.
Sure.
I can change it. If he comes back, this is definitely change. We saw what they do together. The reason I have him so low is I can't see another name on that roster that I can say, maybe Tyrese Maxey, but other than that, I can't say, hey, I can trust this person with the ball. The focus is going to be on Joel, and it's just the way they made the roster is Joel, Ben, and shooters around them. And
Okay.
Tobias Harris is there. I almost said Barkley.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris is there,
I
so
wish.
maybe he can carry them.
Yeah,
He's
me
a
too.
good 20-point game player, but I don't see him as that guy that can push you.
He's
into
not a
that
2.
next-
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man. I don't even look at him as a 3.
Wow.
Like
That's
I don't.
disrespectful.
It's not because his name is Tobias, and I like Tobias Harris a lot. But it's just the fact that, man, I just feel like anytime when it matters, I just haven't seen him perform. Right.
Sure.
And I hope he proves me wrong. That's what I want. Okay. So then at the 8th seed, I got the Pacers. They were, I think, the 9th or the 10th seed last season. This season, they got Frank Vogel. Or not. Yeah. Not Frank Vogel. Sorry. They had Frank Vogel before. They have Rick Carlisle. And
Okay.
Yes.
he's a great coach. I think he's going to be incredible for them. They're going to actually make a lot of improvements. At the 7th seed, I got the Celtics. I think the roster is really good.
Wow.
JT, Jaylen Brown. I think they're going to be great. But I don't think they have made that many significant changes to be able to take their talent to the next level. Okay?
Okay.
Everybody good?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think I think we share similarities in that division, or that tier, but there's also some glaring issues, like the Knicks being at 8, or sorry, at 10. We got who else? Who did Steve Ash say that was a blasphemous? He has Philly pretty low. I can understand where you're coming from. But we go into that next tier, and into the next tier, we've got the 1 to the 6. Chris, I'll let you take the floor here.
All right. So starting at the 6th position.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Come on.
See, I've got your Bulls.
I know.
I've got your Bulls pulling in on the 6th spot. Like I said, they could have been interchangeable, either being the 7th or 6th seed, but I feel like they're gonna have a good strong push. They're just gonna be consistent throughout the entire season. So I'm putting the Bulls at 6. For the 5th seed, I've got the Hawks coming in. Unlike you, I have the 76ers in the 4th seed, just because regardless of if Ben Simmons plays or not, the Sixers are still a very, very, very solid squad.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So they'll get the job done either way. I got the Heat coming in at the 3rd seed. I've got the Bucks coming in at the 2nd, and obviously the powerhouse that is the Brooklyn Nets sitting at the 1st seed there.
I'm mad at
Those
that.
are,
Yeah,
you know,
that's good. Steve Ash, you want to go?
So,
No, you should go.
Okay. So,
I got another blasphemous one.
so Chris, you and I are very similar actually in the top of the top of the conference there. I also have the Bulls at 6. However, what I will say is I think that 6 and 5 could be interchangeable. Like I mentioned, I think with the Bulls, I think they're going to be I think they have a tough schedule off the hop, but I also think just the chemistry and the glue together that happens with any team, to kind of get get their mojo going early on. But I do think that they're one of the best teams in the East. They just got to get it going, and it'll be determined on how long it takes them to get going. At number 5, I have Philly. I think, with or without Ben Simmons, they're still one of the best teams in the East. I did knock them down, obviously, a couple seeds from last year because there's still uncertainty around the team. And I'm going to remove the slander from my guy Tobias Harris's name because Tobias Harris' best year was in the Clippers organization under Doc Rivers. Now, again, he's under Doc Rivers. This will be his second year under Doc. And now he will be that secondary guy, assuming Ben Simmons sits out all year. So I do think that he's not a number 1. I don't think he's really a number 2, but he can be your 2B, your 3A if needed to be. And when you have a MVP type caliber guy in Joel Embiid, it kind of takes some of the pressure off. At number 4, I'm putting respect back on the Boston Celtics brand. The Boston Celtics are being so disrespected in the media on this podcast. I can't believe it.
No way.
They had a shitty year last year. Injuries happened. Some players got COVID. I think Dennis Schroeder, low-key, is a great pickup for them. Having him be the primary ball distributor, letting Jason Tatum to go out and be MVP type level Jason Tatum. Yes, I think Jason Tatum can be MVP type level. Bringing in Al Horford is another great acquisition, low-key for them, getting a big man. That also helps out Dennis Schroeder because they used to play together in Atlanta. There's also chemistry because he used to play in Boston before. I think that they made 2 sneaky acquisitions by paying little amount of money this year. And there's still potential that they can do something more. I heard that there's a rumor they made some moves with money that they might be able to, if he becomes available, get a Bradley Beal, but we're not going to discuss that because that's uncertain. But they also got Josh Richardson, who's a former 76er, played for the Mavs last year. Great defensive guard. I like what they did in Boston. I'm very high on Boston. But that top 1, 2, 3, I'm exactly with you, Chris. I got the Heat at 3, bringing in Kyle Lowry. That's huge. Oladipo to come back and healthy, and Bucks and Nets at the 2 and 1 spot. There's nothing else you really need to say there, but I do think that they could be interchangeable.
Let me go off of what you said with the Celtics. I forgot they got Al Horford, and I think that's a great acquisition. And I think they could get into that position they were in a few years ago with him. But then you brought up Josh Richardson, and
you're like, fuck
that.
that.
About where I put him. Yeah, I don't trust Josh Richardson.
Fair enough.
Okay, so with my 6th spot, I got the Hawks. Now, everybody's pretty high on them, except us. But everybody else is pretty high on them. But I think I want to see, there's a lot of factors with them I want to see. I want to see how Nate McMillan does with a whole season with that team. I want to see how Trey improves. I want to see how certain changes they made with Chris Dunn being off the team, even though he didn't play as much. I want to see how those things are going to affect them. They brought most of the roster back, so I think they're going to be pretty good. Cam Reddish is going to be improved. There's a lot of iffy pieces with it, so I just want to see how that plays out. At the 5th seed, I have the Bulls. My team, I almost put them at first. I almost came out.
Kobe White for MVP.
When I said I got blasphemy, I almost came out being like, with this first seed, I got the Bulls. No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Kobe White winning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
And 6th man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
But at the 5th seed, I got my Bulls. I think, I agree. There's going to be some issues at the start for sure. I don't see, if they're smooth at the start, they could go up to the 3rd seed for me. But I think they're going to have to figure some things out at the start. At the 4th seed, I got the Knicks. The disrespect on this team is crazy. It's crazy. Because you look at what they did last year. I think they're going to match, at least they're going to match it. Because what they did last year, they surrounded themselves with Julius Randle, and they did a lot of pieces. They had a lot of smaller pieces around. And they brought in guys that can do the same output and better. Kemba is going to do better than Emmanuel quickly did.
Mm-hmm.
D-Rose still the backup. Evan Fournier came in, who I think
That's
he's a
good-
better creator.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I think he's a better creator than Reggie Bullock and those other guys. And it's not that I don't like him because he's French. It's just I don't like him as a player.
Yeah, okay. You know it's the French.
Yeah, right. At the third seed, I got the Heat. We already talked about them. Great acquisitions. At the second seed, I got the Nets. I think the Bucks are gonna be way better.
I don't know. Like they didn't
They've been a
do
61
anything.
team for like 3 seasons.
I know they didn't do anything. That's where I'm a little hesitant. But again, like I said, I think Nets can be interchangeable. But I don't think that they get the first.
You don't think the Bucks can get the first?
Yeah, I just don't. They didn't do anything. So
I feel like it though. I mean, yeah, they didn't do anything, but I feel like it's also that kind of like if it ain't broke, don't
Fair
fix
enough.
it type of mentality.
Fair
Like if it's been working, why try to make tweaks
yeah, I guess
until you see something that isn't working?
that's true. That's true.
Good.
It's like that old senile grandfather that's tinkering, and it's like, bro, you're just breaking it.
Yeah.
Stop.
Just leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Just leave it. It worked. No, it doesn't.
So we definitely
Let's get to the Western
had some
Conference.
we definitely had some similarities when it came to the East. Our upper echelon, our top three, whether they were in the exact same spots, we all agreed on those. I think we all agree we got the Cavs, the Magic and the Pistons at the very bottom. Some discrepancies when it comes to the Knicks, the Celtics, even the Raptors and Philly, but overall I think we're pretty well in agreement when it comes to the Eastern Conference. All right, so let's go into the Western Conference now. I mentioned off the top, it was very difficult picking from 8 to 1 for the East. For this, because I've seen the same cast of characters over the past, 4 years with the West, the bottom half was actually more difficult for me when I was trying to put it together and figure out, because there's a couple teams where you're expecting them to do some things, but are they going to show you who they actually are, or are they going to be pretenders again? So who wants to start it off for the Western Conference?
I think you should start up.
All right, so with the 15th overall seed, I have the public school Oklahoma City Thunder. The youngest team in basketball. What was the stat last year? I think they were playing in like they had a roster that was like their average age was like 20 or something like that, 20 years old.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Disgusting.
Excluding Al Horford.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was probably 19, and then he booted it up to 20.
Yeah.
And then like the Oklahoma State team, like the NCAA team, their average age was older than the Oklahoma City Thunder, the National Basketball Association team. So I've got the Thunder there again. They're a young team. They're not going to do anything. They don't have any stud pieces. They got Shea there, of course, but one guy, let alone Shea, can't carry a team to a play-in spot. Next, I have Houston. A big fall for Houston from last year or 2 years ago. Obviously, they had a guy in James Harden. That trade was made. They've definitely taken a whole different approach to their team. They're young. They're exciting. That's one team I'm really excited to watch. And, maybe just a little teaser. I think the Rookie of the Year is on that team. Then we go opposite of the Thunder and the Houston Rockets, a team that has been known to be the oldest team in the NBA for years. I've got the San Antonio Spurs at the 13th spot. Losing DeRozan, I think that's going to be a loss for them. Losing LaMarcus Aldridge, I think that's going to be a loss for them. Of course, they got a guy in DeJounte Murray there and some young guys, but I don't think that they're competitive enough to do anything. Looking at that 11 and 12 spot, these guys are interchangeable, but I think, the Pelicans losing Lonzo Ball to the Chicago Bulls, that will be detrimental to their success. And then the Sacramento Kings, I also have at 11, which is hard for me because I like what they did. I like that they got Davion Mitchell in the draft. Obviously, they have my guy Tyrese Halliburton there as well. There's too many holes with that team, and I'm not sure where they're going.
Okay.
All right.
Like that.
Chris?
All right. Coming in at my 15th spot, right there with you, I've got the OKC. Coming in at 14th, I've got the Rockets. Again, based on like last year's performance, I don't really see them doing much again this year. 13th, I have the Kings coming in there. And then at the 12th spot, but like I said, the 12th spot could be very interchangeable with the 11th spot. I have the New Orleans Pelicans there. So I feel like they could flop back and forth. Or maybe make a tiny little push and maybe potentially push it to the 10th spot.
And who did you have at the 11 interchanging with them?
With the 11th spot, I have the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Spurs, again, they're in a weird place, like you're saying. So, like, I feel like if they're going to finish anywhere, it's going to be somewhere between, like, that 11th to 9th spot if they do anything.
See that? Go ahead.
No, our rankings are very similar. I got Thunder at 15, Rockets at 14. I got the Spurs at 13. I do agree with Chris. I think they can make a push, especially with Pop and his style. And they got a lot of players there that have been there for some time. So I think they do have a chance of making that push. I just, with the roster, I just don't know where they're going to get the output. At the 12th seed, I got the Timberwolves.
Okay.
I think they got a lot of talent. I think they can be great, but I think that organization is as dysfunctional as all of my exes.
Sure. Yeah, sure enough.
Sure.
Your exes or just your exes?
The 11th seed, I got the Kings. And that's a little different from you guys' rankings, but we're going to get to that in the next section.
Man, that's okay.
I agree with the Kings at 11. It's just that mini Pels swap, it sounds like we're different, but for the most part, I think we all agree. Now, I do want to pose this question to you. Ben Simmons, he's been rumored, the San Antonio Spurs has been rumored in the trade possibilities for Ben Simmons. How does Ben Simmons affect the San Antonio Spurs ranking?
According to Siavash, that'll boost them to probably a 3rd, 4th seed, since Philly drops all the way down to the 12th without him. So...
Yeah, I got them first seed.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it affects them, actually.
Okay.
The best they could do would go to the 11th, but
sure,
because you got to see what are they going to give up to get it.
Totally.
They don't even have a lot of pieces as is.
I think DeJounte Murray would go back 100%. He would go the other way.
He would have to. Then you look at like somebody like Derek White, I think. These players, they got to go back, but then who are you putting around Ben Simmons that he can have his own kind of team and be able to push them? The reason I say that with the Sixers, they're going to have a drop-off is because that team is fit for him. He just has to try to drive, and then when the team try to double, or if anything try to drop off, he can just kick it out to shooters. Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, you look at all these guys. So with the Spurs, I don't think they have that. I don't think, and they could, but I don't think the output is going to be the same. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Pop and all the people with the Spurs organization can actually make a difference in him, and they could actually push him to be that would be my favorite landing spot for him.
Yeah, wow.
That would be interesting. I don't want him in Timberwolves. I think with the Spurs, it would be interesting with Pop in his last few years. This could possibly be his last year to see what he could do with that player.
Totally. Okay, looking at that next sort of section, Siavash, how about you take it away for the 7 to 10 spot? That little play-in tournament section.
For sure. At the 10th spot, I got the Pelicans. You guys already talked about them. I think, I don't think they've improved. I think they had a really disappointing offseason. But I do think with Zion improving, with their coaching change, I think they could make that little bit of push to the 10th seed. If they don't, I doubt Zion's going to be happy about that. That's going to be a really disappointing year if they cannot even make it to the playing tournament.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. At the 9th seed, I got the Clippers.
Okay. Disrespectful.
How?
Go on. Explain why. Because there's a lot of other teams that we need to see ahead, but okay, go ahead.
I like the Clippers.
Not that much.
I do, though, because Paul George used to be one of my favorite players when he was on OKC.
Okay.
But then when he went to Clippers, it was kind of like some clown show going on, and then he actually came back. And then he came back, and then last year he had a good comeback, and I want to see that from him again.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be good. But outside of that, all the role players, they're good. I can't say they're not, but I don't think it's going to be the same as when Kawhi was on the floor. Can they be? I can see them even going to the 5th or 6th seed, which I think where you have them. But at the same time, I think we got to see what they can do.
Yeah, number 1, baby.
Number 1.
Okay, keep going.
Let me actually make sure, because I think I might have missed a team or two.
Yeah, I think the
okay.
mistake you had was having Clippers at 9. So maybe you need to read
No,
this.
no. I got the Grizzlies. I got the Grizzlies at 8.
Okay.
Listen, bro, John Morant, man.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I think they had some traits that I think is gonna help them improve very well. You know,
They got that brick wall and picked up Steve Adams.
yeah,
They swapped Steve.
I think that's gonna be a really good fit for John Morant, the way he plays.
They also got Culver from Minnesota.
Yep, that's another good. That was for chump change, I think. I think
Excuse
they
me?
gave up the second round.
That was not for chump change. That was for a very dedicated basketball player.
Oh, my fault. They got a guy off the street.
Dang, bro. The slander stays. The Clippers, bro. Pat Bev, my guy.
Patrick Beverley.
Fun fact for you guys and everybody listening. Every single year that Pat Bev has been in the league, every single team that he's played for has made the playoffs. So, suck on that one.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, that's easy though. Like, you can.
Oh, it's easy. Watch the Raptors. Watch the Raptors miss the playoffs this year. That's easy,
bro. I'm just saying that is such a dumb stat because it's like anybody can be carried to the fucking.
It's
final.
Pat
anybody.
Bev, bro.
Literally anybody. What am I
laces up his black Air Forces. He puts the team on his back and he says, "Let's go to work, boys. Let's go to work, boys."
That's like me going up and being like, "Oh, hey, you know, let me thank the bus driver for getting me to school. He brought me here." And I was like, "Well, no, the bus carried us all to school. We're here.
You wouldn't
The
be
bus,
there without him.
Got us there.
You wouldn't be there without Daryl, the bus driver. Daryl carried you.
Oh,
he's the heart and soul of that bus, bro. He drove that bus.
No, if anything, he's like the spare tire that's there.
Well,
it's there in
it
case
popped
you
and you need it. So
tire.
Oh my god!
I can totally see Patrick Beverley being a bus driver though. He's definitely that type.
Wow. Be nice. You probably keep everything in line. No slack. None of that.
Yeah, and you know how they usually have ads? You know they usually have ads on the bus? It'd say, "Road to the playoffs, hop on." So everyone that wants on gets on.
Oh my god.
All right, see, finish up your ranking in that section.
At the 7th seed, I got the Blazers. That's I think they're gonna be good, but I don't think they're gonna be that good. They could, they could change my mind, but I don't see them because they didn't make that many improvements. I think Larry Nance Jr. is gonna be a great improvement for them.
No improvements.
I think Larry Nance Jr. is gonna be good, but still, I don't think they have made that much of a change. We'll see though. Okay, you guys.
Cool.
I will go. At 10, I have the Grizz. I like the Grizzlies. It was hard for me between the Kings, the Grizzlies, and my 9th seed to pick who was going to land where. You got my guy, Triple J there as well, Jaren Jackson Jr.
Triple J.
And Jaw. I like them, but they're still young. They're still, as my dad, shout out Steve Barkley, would say, they're still green behind the ears. So they need to prove themselves, right? So then we move on to 9, a team that I think has so much potential. They just need to put it together, and they have to make the playoffs because they got Pat Bev. I got the Minnesota Timberwolves at number 9. With Pat, with Ant, with D'Lo. Yeah, I think look at that team. They have everything that they need to put it together.
Pieces, I will say that.
And look,
because they got Pat Bev.
No. But honestly, like with those 3, I mentioned off the top, like we're gonna see who these teams actually are, or if they're pretenders. And this is the team I'm literally adding with that statement. Like, okay, like you have everything that you need to make the playoffs. There is no excuse. Even just a play-in tournament game. Like you have every single asset that you need. So if they miss a play-in tournament, that for me that's a trade for Cat. Like Cat's getting out. He wants out of there.
Yeah.
At number
They're gonna be
8.
disappointed.
Yeah, maybe. At number 8, I think you're going to be disappointed with this. I got your boy, Luka Magic, at number 8.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
But I mean,
No
wait.
way.
They didn't
How?
do anything. We talked about this last episode. They didn't do
Don't
anything.
need to
They
do
didn't
anything.
They haven't. They've gotten out
They
the first
got rid
round.
of the dysfunction. They got
What
rid of
dysfunction? KP is still there.
Ricard.
Nah.
No, KP is not the problem.
I think he is.
Oh yeah, I don't think.
I
Nah,
think he
bro,
is.
Nah, bro.
What's the
listen,
second
he literally
option?
has
What's the second option for Luca?
KP?
No,
He
he's
just
not.
wasn't last year.
He's worse than
Oh,
Pascal Siakam, and Pascal Siakam's a 3.
No
Oh
way
my
you said
God.
that, bro.
Don't disrespect KP like
no,
that.
bro. KP nice.
Nah,
Don't do
he's
that.
not durable.
Yeah,
He gets
don't-
injured all the time. He
Oh,
can't be
That's
consistent
all
of a
true,
shooter.
But he's not the
I would
problem.
give the ball to Tim Hardaway Jr. before I would give it to KP. No
Sure.
way, bro.
And that's fine.
no
and they did
way,
that in the
bro.
playoffs.
And
they
he's
took your team to
inconsistent.
Game 7.
And he's inconsistent. So that's where I have the Mavs. I have the Mavs at 8. They're still making a play-in tournament game, but they fucking ain't making the playoffs for certain.
Seed.
At number 7. The team that didn't really do anything that they needed to this offseason. The biggest issue that they have is defense. The Portland Trail Blazers. They didn't address their defense. You just brought it up with Larry Nance Jr. He's a fine player. The big glaring hole for the Portland Trail Blazers is defense. We talked about Ben Simmons a couple times already in this podcast. I think if they can make a swap for CJ for Ben, they'd do it in a heartbeat. I would love Damon and Ben Simmons together. Bit of heat coming in that middle tier for me, eh?
Yeah, just a little
Fact that you
bit.
got
Just
the
a
Mavs
bit.
at the
Just
8
I
seed.
know.
pouring the
Seven.
Tabasco
yeah,
sauce.
that's crazy.
Pouring the
That is
Tabasco
disrespect
sauce
on my
all
boy.
over.
Very disrespectful. Well, I guess coming in for my 10th to 7th. Again, I find a lot of these spots 7 to 10 very interchangeable. Should a team hit their stride early or just keep a consistency going, they could easily just flip flop back and forth any one of these positions. So at the 10th spot, I have Minnesota. Again, like you said, they've got the pieces. They just need to actually execute. And maybe, and you know what? And I was gonna say this before, like we started joking about fucking Pat Bev and stuff, but maybe Pat Bev is that personality that just kind of gets everything in check and maybe reins them in a little bit.
You know what I'm gonna do? Have you
Alright.
guys ever heard of Cameo?
Yes.
I'm gonna for Sevash's birthday. I'm gonna buy a Pat Bev Cameo because he's on there. I've checked. I'm gonna buy him a Pat
Why
Bev.
is he on there? He's making
I don't know.
millions.
You gotta make extra money. There's a lot of NBA players on there, surprisingly, actually. But
Bro, he's still on that street mentality. He's like, yo, let me get this console, bro. I'm on Cameo. Yo,
But-
hey, buddy, it's your birthday.
but I'm getting
Hey, man.
I'm getting one for Sevash, and I'm just
Bro,
gonna
please make
tell
him
him
sing
how
it
much
for
he
me.
hates.
I want
Hey.
Pat Bev singing happy birthday.
I respect the Cameo grind. You know,
Yeah.
tomorrow's not promised as an
Facts.
athlete, so he's just securing his future. While he's hot now and people like him, let me be on Cameo.
Yeah.
Dog, I would cry.
God.
I would die crying.
At the 9th spot, I've got Portland. Again,
Okay.
for me, they didn't do anything really, and they just didn't make too many improvements and whatnot. So I don't see them pushing like too far. At the 8th spot, I have your Clippers. I'm sorry, Tobias, but
Dang.
again, it just comes down to that injury there with Kawhi. I don't think he's gonna be back for because what I know him and Jamal Murray had like similar injuries, right? Both
Yeah,
torn ACL.
I will say the reason
Something
why I
like
have the
that.
Clippers a bit higher, there was a recent report out that it's his rehab is going a lot better than expected. So I'll just say that.
Okay. But yeah, that's just my thing.
Yeah.
Just because without that Kawhi piece
Sure.
and him potentially taking a little longer to come back, they're just going to be sitting there. And then I've got the Grizzlies in at the 7th spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So into that final tier, Chris, go ahead. Introduce us to your 1 to 6.
All right. So my 1 to 6, we got a little bit of controversy here. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. You guys might be like, what? You know, so maybe you guys be like, yeah, Chris finally knows something.
Wouldn't be
But
doing
He
that.
doesn't have the Lakers as one. He doesn't have the Lakers as one.
But at the 6th spot, I've got the Denver Nuggets. The fifth spot, I have the Phoenix Suns. I think they'll still perform fairly well. Again, they could jostle. They could drop down to that seventh spot between there. Who knows? I don't know. Looking at some other things, I was like, I had to readjust this team because a lot of places had this team placed very high, and I was like, I didn't think this one player would make that big of an adjustment. But I have the Golden State Warriors coming in at the fourth seed. A lot of other places had them coming in at like the second seed, if not first seed. And I'm like, I don't like.
I'm on par with you there.
It'll be weird. Yeah. Again, these next three spots, actually, you know what? I think 2, 3, and 4 could be a little interchangeable depending on how the team's doing. I've got the Los Angeles Lakers finishing at the third seed, and we've got Luka Magic finishing at the second. Yeah.
My guy.
Yeah. A little controversy. You know what? Again,
MVP.
Dallas. Yeah, MVP. Dallas's record does rely a lot on Luka's performance, like going into the season.
Chris, would you like to make a wager?
Yeah.
Hope loves these wagers.
I say Dallas lands 5, 6, 7, 8. You can say Dallas lands top 4.
Top 4? Okay. Deal.
Okay.
10 bones?
Done deal.
10 bones?
Done deal. 10 bones. 10 bones.
Cool.
I also got to send you 10
To our listeners that don't understand the lingo, they mean real body bones. Whoa.
Yeah.
Real body bones.
Okay, you have Luka and his Mavericks at 2, and then that means you have the Jazz at 1.
The Jazz securing the number 1 spot again.
Okay.
You know what? I think after you had the Bucks winning that season, you're gonna have Mr. Mitchell. He's just gonna be fired up, absolutely fired up, and just wants that chip this year. So.
Wow. Okay. All right. C, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
He's like, I want to go.
I want to go.
I want the spot.
I got the Nuggets at 6 spot as well. I think they're gonna be good. No, listen. I'm a Jokic fan. Jokic is my guy. I love the way he plays. I love that team. I just have a hard time seeing them. Look, they're gonna have that bit of struggle, and he's gonna be MVP. If he has an MVP output season, they're gonna be a bit higher. But I still think they're gonna need a guy like Jamal Murray. If MPJ steps up, I can see them being higher. But as of right now, I got them in that spot. What were you gonna say, Toby?
No. I realized that Jamal Murray's out, so that's just gonna tinker my.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. If Jamal Murray was in, I would have had him top 3.
Yeah, same.
Because Jokic is going to improve, MPJ is going to improve, all the pieces they got, Aaron Gordon, it's going to be a great team. Even right now, I don't even know if I've locked in at 6. I could have him higher, but...
Do we have a timetable on Jamal Murray? Do we know when he's coming back?
Late in the season, maybe even miss the season, I think.
Similar to Kawhi, okay.
Similar.
Okay.
I heard he was supposed to come back before Kawhi.
He could.
Yeah.
That could be really exciting in the playoffs.
He should be back before Kawhi's back.
Okay.
Right. At the 5th seed, I got the Mavs. That's my guy, but I'm not as high as Chris on him.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, no, that's like kind of...
Not like Aguilar.
Wow. Like what?
It's, you know what? To be fair, like I said, when I was doing the research, looking at all this stuff, a lot of lists had a lot of them were consistent with Utah being number 1, but a lot either had the Golden State Warriors at 2nd, followed by with I think it was Dallas at like 3rd, and then Lakers at like 4th or 5th spot. And I was like, I would maybe, I don't know, jostle a little bit. But
no, I think they're gonna be good. I think that changes scenery with Jason Kidd coming in. He doesn't have the best track record, but I think it's gonna be interesting with the change he's gonna have. And with Carla, the way he left, the way that whole regime left, they had a lot of issues. And I think KP was one of the biggest pieces. That's it. I was uncomfortable. I was unhappy. Now he wanted to be traded, but in that time, but now he's actually he feels like he's welcome. And I think they're gonna give it a try, and we're gonna see how that goes.
That's great. 7-3 and can't rebound, but okay. Go ahead.
okay, buddy.
At the 4th seed, I got the Suns. I think they're gonna be good. I just, I think CP is getting a little up there, so I can see them, kind of missing a few games here and there, but it's going to be exciting. Them and the Warriors for me are interchangeable for 3 and 4. The Warriors are exciting, man. They're going to be good.
Very.
Last season, what they did with Steph and literally nobody else on that team is
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you've got that up and coming Wiseman, and then with Thompson coming back too, that gives them more options. So
If
Yeah,
anybody's
but-
wondering what that team's going to look like with Clay coming back, go ahead and watch the 2019 playoffs. The whole Blazers series, game 6 of the Rockets series, and the first, even like all 6 games of the Raptors series. Go ahead and watch game 6, especially before Clay got injured when Danny Green was trying to go for a block. The way they space the floor with Clay and Steph, it just opens it up for everybody else.
And they have
it's
so much
really
chemistry,
exciting
like-
basketball.
So much.
100%. So it's going to be an exciting team. Second seed, I got the Lakers. I don't see how they can not win that many games with Russ, LeBron, and AD. One of them goes down,
Yeah.
they still got 2 All-Stars, 2 All-NBA level
Yeah.
players. That team's going to be exciting. And the first seed, I got the Jazz. They're just going to win regular season games. They're not going to do shit in the playoffs.
I feel you.
All right, so
All right, I had to call an audible because, to be honest with you, I forgot that Jamal Murray was out and out for a long time. But I will let you know my mind.
welcome.
It's
Hey,
a
Google.
ghost.
Hey, Google, stop.
Stop fucking up my podcast.
Hey, okay.
Hey, Google, you're fucking up my career.
It's because Google knew you were about to say some outlandish
But-
things. So she had to
Google's like, shut
interject.
the fuck up.
So,
Always listen.
so what I will say is, before I remembered that Jamal Murray was injured, I did have the Nuggets at number 1. That's how high I have them. That's how highly I respect them. I think they've got a solid 4 in Jokic, Murray, Gordon, and MPJ. But now that I check myself, I'm going to move them down. At number 6, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. I understand where you guys have them lower. I understand. I do believe that Kawhi being out will obviously have a big impact on them. That's why I don't
And
have
they
them as a
lost your
top.
boy.
That's why I don't have them. Yeah, as a top 3 seed.
There's no Pep Ep.
But they were able to retain a lot of their guys, basically all their guys actually, this past offseason. They kept Reggie. They still got Terrence Mann. He's going to improve. They got a lot of young rookies. I know that doesn't make a huge impact, but in terms of depth, especially when you're missing a star guy, that does matter. They brought back Marcus Morris. They brought in Justice Winslow, who I also will think will be good at that 3. Also swap with he's also a point guard whenever he wants to be. And Eric Bledsoe, former Clipper. But I do have them at number 6. At number 5, I have the Phoenix Suns. I agree with you guys. I think Phoenix, while they had a great year last year, they're not going to replicate it this year, especially, if we're forecasting ahead. Obviously, we don't want any injuries to happen. So I'm assuming that there are no injuries this year. I have the Suns at number 5. With that being said, I have the Nuggets at number 4. I just talked about them. I do think that they're a really good team with or without Jamal Murray. I still think they're a solid squad. They've got Monte Morris as their backup point guard, so he'll take a prominent role there. I think he's a great, option for them at point. At number 3, I have the Golden State Warriors. I do agree. I think that they're, going to be a very exciting team to watch. Having Clay come back. He won't be back until, I think, a couple months in, right? I don't think he's coming back till like December. But still, like having them, be at their peak again will be really nice to see. They spread the floor very well. At number 2, I've got the Lakers, of course. I agree with that many Hall of Famers, that many All-NBA, All-Star type players. There is a very, very high expectation for them, and I don't see that they don't hit that expectation. Like you mentioned, if Russ is off the floor, they got Braun. If Braun is off the floor, they got Russ. AD, there's a lot of talk around him, that being his team now, so I'm interested to see how he steps up this year and takes a whole of Los Angeles Lakers. And then the Jazz at number 1. I agree. I think, when it comes to offense, when it comes to defense, they have, the best defensive player, one of the best defensive players in the league, Donovan Mitchell, exciting, can put up 40 if he wants to. So they'll be a really interesting team. I think that top 3 echelon, though, if they get on a hot streak, they can be very interchangeable.
I agree. That's very well. You guys want to give your finals predictions right now?
Finals prediction?
Finals predictions. Jeez. Well, it's obviously going to be the Los Angeles Lakers going off probably against either No, I'm gonna say Brooklyn fucking chokes this year. Choke. But you know how this fucking industry is. It's so I guarantee you it'll be Brooklyn. So it's probably gonna be the Lakers. 100%.
So I have stuck by this, and I believe this, and we can clip it, and we can talk about it when it comes to June. The Lakers are not making the finals. I don't have them making the finals. I don't know why. I just don't see that they're going to make the finals.
You said this before, and I don't know if I asked you this. Who is?
The Jazz.
Come on.
This guy did not say that with confidence.
Because I'm just looking. I'm looking at the standings right now. Like I'm trying to think in terms of
Jazz.
matchups, right? I'm trying to think in
The
terms
shake
of matchups.
in his voice.
I don't think. I just
That's
don't
my
think.
mom over there.
I just don't think that the Lakers, when it comes to the stretch of the season, when it comes to, May, June basketball, I think that there's going to be some gas. Again, I guess you can do load management, but I think they're going to be tired. I think, when you play with older players, there's more of a risk of them getting injured. I never wish an injury on anybody, but we saw some injuries down the stretch with LeBron. LeBron's not getting any younger, and these past couple seasons, we've seen him get a groin injury, and then what was it last year, an ankle injury? He hasn't been, in his past, 14, 13 seasons, he's never had an injury. And now in these past 2 seasons, he's had 2 injuries in each season that's kept him out for a couple weeks. So players get older, they get less durable. They've got a lot of old players on their squad. Off the top of my head, I would just say the Jazz, the Nuggets, and if Kawhi comes back in time, I think the Clippers.
Oh my god.
But that's biased.
You know
But that's
how your
biased.
Clippers are. That's so biased.
That's biased.
The Clippers choke
I'll admit
every
that.
single year.
What the? How?
Every
How?
year.
How?
And they just don't go.
How?
They just don't go
What was
anywhere.
that noise?
They just,
How, bro? They would have
What was
been
it?
in the finals
I'm
this
telling
year if it wasn't an injury to Kawhi.
But they weren't.
choke.
No, you're
And
right,
if
They
it
but
weren't.
wasn't for injuries, Lakers would have been in the finals.
potentially. But that's what I'm saying with the Suns.
Potentially.
The reason they were in the finals
I'm
is
just
because they
saying.
hit injuries in every single matchup until they
I
got to the
agree.
Bucks. Yeah.
I agree with that, but I think we can't just say, "Oh, the Clippers would have been in the finals," because then
No,
the
you're
Nets
right,
would have
you're
been in the
right.
finals, and the Lakers would have
Nuggets
been in the
could have been.
finals.
The Nuggets could have
The
been.
Nuggets would have been, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
Nuggets.
But that's the narrative. We got to cut that because it's not like that anymore.
But
They
I
choke
don't
anymore.
know, bro.
They don't choke anymore.
I-
I
how do you
agree.
mean they don't
Post
choke
last season, I agree. But it's not like that
I
anymore.
also like how Tobias has changed his whole stance on the Nuggets. Like he used to be like, "Oh, the milkman. Oh, these guys are."
Yo,
just
but the
random
thing is,
shots."
have you seen Jokic this offseason? He's put in a lot of work. He's slimmed down. He put on muscle. He's not fat anymore. So I agree. I think
What's up
he's a
with the
better
body
player than he was.
shaming?
I agree. He's better. He's a better player, a better fit player now than he was 365 days ago.
He was an MVP.
We'll see.
I know, but he was not in NBA physical shape. He was good, but he wasn't where he could be. So if he was MVP
Neither was
then,
Shaq.
bro, he's going to be a better player this year than he was last year. Bank on it.
I don't agree on that because he's a center. Shaq, let's say when Shaq went to the Heat, people were like, "Oh, he's gonna get in that physical shape. He's gonna be good." But he was way better when he was on Lakers, and he was over 50 pounds heavier.
Yeah, and
So
after
as a center,
Shaq,
you got to be able to be a better player.
and after Shaq left the Lakers, he gained a lot of weight and became a worse player. No one remembers Shaq after the Lakers because he gained a lot. You look
When
at
we
the
went to the
fucking
Heat,
size of
'cause-
his neck
Yeah.
when he was with the Heat, with the Celtics and the Suns. No, he's washed out.
Oh, that's different. But with the Heat, they got the policy where you got to get under a certain body fat percentage. And I've read his book, and he said how that was a difficult time for him because he couldn't really be that guy because he's a bigger person.
Sure.
But for him, when he was there, he was a bit lighter than he was with the Lakers. After that, he just went off the rails. So I can't even comment on that.
I just think Jokic being slimmer and still being his athletic skill, his offensive skill and his defensive skill, he'll be a better player this year than he was last year because I agree to your point, but those eras are also different. It's not really a physical game. You want an athletic or an agile center, a guy that can move, can run. You're not so much worried about the physicality of a center as you would have been early 2000s era. For
Who
sure.
are the top 2 centers in the league today?
I would say Joel Embiid probably and Jokic.
and both of them were very physical, back to the basket kind of players last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think, sure, your point is valid, but I also think that there is still that level of you got to be physical in this league, especially because everybody else is going small ball. The bigger guys are thriving right now,
and that's where he did it right. He didn't lose weight. Like he's not Kristaps Porzingis. He put on muscle. He lost weight and put on muscle. Kristaps Porzingis is lanky and skinny, and he's 7'3" and a twig. That's why he breaks his leg every single year, right? But Jokic put on weight. So he lost weight. He lost weight, but he put on muscle. So I just think it's going to benefit him this year for sure.
I will bet that he will be a bit worse because of that weight loss.
You think so, eh? How would you measure? How would you measure that?
We will see. I think it's a lot of it's eye test, the way he can move people in the post. Because when I saw the Nuggets series, he was just moving everybody out the way, and he would just post up in that mid range, and he would just keep posting up, pushing whoever's behind him, Robert Covington or Ennis Scanner, and he was just moving everybody out the way. Yeah. I think you can see that with the eye test. You can easily just see if he looks a bit weaker or if he's just doesn't have the same impact. I think Kevin Love felt that when he first lost that weight when he got to Cleveland.
Sure.
But he also thought that he also said that that's better for him because his body gets injured less. Mm-hmm. So we will see how that affects his game. But I don't think he's going to be able to move the players the same. Okay.
I can't make the bet because I don't know how he.
I don't even want to bet on that because it's just because there are other factors to it, like the team not being the same. He could not have the same output, so we can't really just have that bet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was another great episode of the Lob It Up podcast. We talked about where we think each team's going to rank. I think there was some slander thrown both in the Eastern and the Western Conference, most notably the Dallas Mavericks slander, the Knicks slander. On both of our sides, the Celtics slander I think was in there as well, but it was good. I think we agree with a lot of our points as well. There's some consistencies, but some misses in between us three. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good year. I think it's going to be a competitive year of basketball, and I'm excited to get it underway in only 2 weeks' time. So I guess by the time you listen to it, it'll be right underway as it is. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.